Good Thursday morning, March 19, 2020. This is Sabah Fakuri for the Heart and Home podcast. I hope all is well. I wanted to share with you that last night, Hay House Publishing sent an email announcing the launching of a free resources page. Now, Hay House is something that I have been following, and they've amassed a library of tools to deal with anxiety and stress. They have over 20 years of stuff, and they're sharing it with everyone for free. You don't have to be a member. You don't have to pay for it. A link to their movies and podcasts and meditations, articles, and eBooks will be included in the show notes for you to peruse. Among the freebies is their newest podcast that they began earlier this year, and I've been following it. You can look it up on Apple iTunes or any of the platforms that have the podcasts. It's called You Can Heal Your Life. I've been following this show, and my favorites thus far are Marianne Williamson's meditations. I listened to her March 16 episode, Meditations for a Miraculous Life, for almost 2 hours last night, and I felt so much better. Earlier, I had listened to Louise Hay. She also has a segment on overcoming fear that was posted on March 17. And today, I'm going to listen to Cheryl Richardson's post that leads us through 25-minute self-care meditation. Cheryl Richardson is also another person that I've been following, a Hay House author, and I also have her book with the same name on self-care. Other things that I've been doing include, of course, resting and sanitizing the house. I took a spray bottle of air freshener, added some hydrogen peroxide and some water, mixed it up, and made my own sanitizer. So I sprayed it in the sinks, on the handles, on the doors, wiped everything down, and then I went and sprayed it through every room in the house. It really made me feel better, and the house smelled great. I also each morning open the windows to stream fresh air into the house. Now, this is something that I learned from friends of mine when I was living in Boston that were from Germany. I had visited their apartment, and it was the middle of winter, and in Boston, you know that it's very cold, and I found all their windows wide open, and I realized this is something that they do. And then I later learned that your buildings have sick air in them if you don't clear them out. So that would also include your home. So it's something that you might want to consider. Of course, I'm taking time to read and write and taking walks outdoors to clear my mind from naysayers that refuse to stay home or practice social distancing. I'm not taking any chances, and neither should you. Now, I have limited my intake of news, so that's why I've elected not to share and update what's going on. It's become overwhelming, even for me. I found my body to start to feel sick, where I just didn't want to look at anything anymore. It was more of the same thing over and over again. And it kind of started to make me feel scared. And I don't want to get scared. And that's why I'm going to look at the headlines, but I'm not going to read through all the stories. I'm going to save the links, and then I can go back and read them later if I need to. But for right now, for peace of mind, I think it's better if I don't occupy my mind with such stories. Now, there's been an array of stories that have been posted of many people on Twitter of what's happening in their area, And actually, those posts are more scary than what the news is reporting. So I found that to be a little upsetting as well. This morning, I saw a post by someone in Italy who had shown a picture of the army in that country with trucks all lined up to pick up all the dead bodies there. I think they had almost 500 deaths in one day yesterday in Italy. So we thought 100 a day was a lot and 10 pages of obits, but it has definitely gotten much worse. Other stories that I saw included really good news for Venice, the clearing of their water. They're starting to see fish there, and they have done a few stories of even seeing dolphins in the water. And even though officials say that the water is still polluted, it's just that the sediment has settled to the bottom because of no traffic on their canals. And that city had been inundated with tourists. So actually, by everybody being locked down and not going out, it's actually doing a good thing for some areas. I look at it as a cleansing of the earth. And I started to write about this time so that I could remember how it feels like, because I really don't know if we're going to go back to the way things ever were. Now, our AMC theater has closed down, malls have closed down. There's so many changes that are happening. You can't sit at restaurants anymore. Everything is carry out. Our life has changed, and I don't think that the kids are going to go back to school the rest of this year. Now, all of a sudden, people are starting to get serious. Not everybody, but I just hope that everybody takes precautions. I am doing it. You should. You should encourage your friends, your family, your parents, grandparents. And as we learned just recently, children are now at risk as well. Maybe that's why they decided to keep them home from school. Reports are coming out from Italy of kids also being sick. It was reported that it wasn't affecting that many kids. There were very few, especially in China, but now we're learning of other kids, especially 5 and below, that it is affecting. You have to make sure that your body is able to fight the disease. So the whole reason for quarantine is so that we don't inundate the health system. Yes, they're going to have Navy ships and vessels on the coast of New York and California for extra beds. They say there's a shortage. Now, in other countries, they converted hotels and office buildings. Why don't they just get those cruise ships that are sitting empty and use those? They all have beds. They all have, a place that people can sleep. The only thing is they don't have enough nurses, doctors, and protective gear. And the most important thing is, if you do have difficulty breathing, they don't have enough ventilator machines for everyone. So, unfortunately, this has been a practice whether you have a pandemic or not. I found out from a friend of mine that was a doctor. About maybe 20 years ago, he told me that, did you know that if someone comes into the hospital, that you have to decide based on their age how that you treat them. So if they're younger, you have to do everything that you can to try to save them. But if they're older, then you just go ahead and let them pass. That is something that is being practiced as well in Italy. where they're leaving the 80 and above to die, and the ones that are in their 60s, they're trying to help, especially if they have family and they don't have underlying conditions. I also read that here in the state of Michigan, that certain people will get priority, such as first responders. So if you're a police officer, if you're, of course, a doctor or a nurse, firefighter, those people will get first priority if they need the ventilator machines as well. Now, hopefully it won't get to that where we have people in the hallways, people waiting outside, people can't get tested, as has happened in other countries, but this is something that you need to think about and make sure that you stay safe. I hope that you're doing well, your family is doing well, and just keep thinking positive thoughts. Make sure that your body is not, if you're anxious, your body is going to emanate that in your environment. You will affect others in your home. You want to stay calm as you can. It's hard, I know, it's just like meditating is, but you have to keep practicing it. This is something that we're not used to, and we have to keep trying. We're going to pass through this, but it is going to take a long time. Like a lot of people think, in a couple weeks it's all going to be over. I don't think so. I mean, we might think like 30 days is a lot, but this could go on several months and up to 2 years. So don't think that we're going to go back to how things used to be. Our world has changed, and we have no idea just yet how bad it really is going to get, especially in the United States. For the Heart and Home Podcast, I'm Sabah Fakuri. Please stay safe out there.